You remember the rear-facing seat in the station wagon, but the reason it took over is stranger than you think. Brown vinyl warms in the sun, the tailgate thumps shut, and one child suddenly rides backward, watching the whole neighborhood slide away through a huge sheet of glass. Act 1, Setup and Stakes. By the mid-1960s, suburban America is stretching outward fast. Families buy split-level houses, shopping centers bloom near parking lots, and the family car keeps changing jobs. It hauls groceries on Friday, Little League gear on Saturday, and extra children every day in between. On television, Bewitched and the Brady Bunch sell a roomy domestic picture. On the road, the station wagon becomes the moving hallway of that life. Full-size wagons from Ford, Chevrolet, Plymouth, and Oldsmobile promise cargo space without giving up passenger capacity. Here is the pressure point. Baby boom families are bigger. Carpools are normal, and seatbelt habits are still loose through much of the 1960s and early 1970s. Parents want one vehicle that can carry 6, 7, sometimes 8 people, plus strollers, coolers, and paper grocery sacks. Detroit hears that clearly. In 1964, Ford introduces a rear-facing third-seat option in its full-size wagons, marketed as practical packaging. Other makers offer similar arrangements: Chevrolet wagons, AMC wagons, and Oldsmobile estates all work variations on the same trick. Fold the seat flat when needed, pop it up when cousins appear. The secret problem is social too. Children multiply faster than bucket seats do. A parent can fit the neighborhood in one car for school pickup, church, or a trip to the A&P. The rear seat gives adults a compromise they can call sensible, while kids see something entirely different. The wagon feels almost illicit. You sit outside the main cabin's conversation. You face the wrong direction. Red taillights swell large in the window, then vanish. People in cars behind stare right at you and sometimes wave. Hold on to that detail. Act 2, Rise and Peak Moment. The takeover starts when wagon design gets smarter about hidden space. General Motors pushes clamshell wagons from 1971. The glass slides up into the roof, the tailgate drops onto the floor, and the cargo opening becomes huge. Families notice every inch. Oldsmobile adds one of the era's best-known examples. The Vista Cruiser, sold through the 1960s and 1970s, already has raised roof skylights above the second row. It feels airy, almost observatory-like. In the far back, the extra seat turns the wagon into a rolling clubhouse with legal upholstery. Ford leans into the family brief with the Country Squire and LTD wagons. Fake woodgrain on the outside, broad bench seats inside, and brochures showing tidy suburban order. Chrysler sells town and country wagons on the same premise. You can carry children and plywood in one afternoon. By the mid-1970s, the station wagon is near its cultural high-water mark. In 1975, Chevrolet sells hundreds of thousands of wagons across its lines. Full-size family wagons are fixtures in driveways, mall parking lots, and school loading zones from California to Connecticut. Popular culture locks the image in place. National Lampoon's Vacation in 1983 turns the Wagon Queen family truckster into a joke, but jokes only land when the audience already recognizes the species. The giant family wagon is common enough to parody. Kids know the best seat instantly. It is the one with the reverse view. You can make faces at the traffic behind. You can see the road you already traveled, which feels oddly grand when you are 8. For a second, the family errand becomes your own movie ending. Adults accept it because the seat solves arithmetic. 7-passenger capacity matters when one car has to do everything. The third row can disappear when not needed. That flexibility keeps wagons competitive before the minivan arrives. The thrill and the compromise lock together in the same latch. Then the culture peaks and begins to turn. In 1984, Chrysler launches the Dodge Caravan and Plymouth Voyager. They are shorter than many full-size wagons, easier to load, and shaped around family use from the first sketch. Suddenly, the old wagon formula looks bulky. Act 3. Fall, twist, and what really happened. Here is the twist. The rear-facing seat does not fade because children stop loving it. It fades because adults become less willing to treat rear space as casual overflow. Safety expectations change, and the market follows. Seatbelt use rises through the 1980s. Child passenger laws spread state by state. In 1985, New York enacts a child restraint law for young passengers. And other states keep tightening rules across the decade. Families start hearing more precise language about crash forces, belts, and proper restraints. That's where it gets weird. The very feature that felt safest to some parents, tucked away behind the main bench, becomes harder to justify in the age of child seats. Rear-facing wagon seats often have lap belts, limited room for modern restraints, and awkward access through a tailgate opening. Federal rules also shape the cabin. FMVSS requirements push better occupant protection over time, and manufacturers redesign interiors around new expectations. The old hidden third row remains available in some wagons into the 1990s, including models like the Buick Roadmaster Estate and Ford Taurus wagon. But the world around it has changed. Meanwhile, minivans and later SUVs absorbed the family mission. A Caravan or Toyota Previa offers forward-facing rows, sliding door access, and easier loading for children in seats. Parents can still haul soccer gear, but the compromise feels less compromised. The rear-facing perch survives mainly as a memory. You find it in used Volvo wagons, in Ford Taurus, and Mercury Sable wagons from the 1990s, in online listings where sellers proudly photograph the third row. The vinyl still creases the same way. The old feeling arrives fast. The backward seat becomes shorthand for a certain American childhood. Not luxury, not glamour, a practical suburb, a long errand, a parent calling over one shoulder, and a child pressed to the glass, counting cars. At thrift stores and car shows, people still point to the cargo area first. They touch the folded panel, then grin when the jump seat flips up. The mechanism is half furniture, half magic trick, and suddenly, the past has seating for one more. Here is the archivist's note. The rear-facing wagon seat tells on an era when family life is getting bigger, farther from downtown, and more engineered around the private car. Kids experience that as thrill. Parents experience it as logistics. Same seat, different story. So the small aha is this. Childhood freedom in the back of the wagon is real. But it is manufactured by a packaging decision made in Detroit boardrooms and suburban driveways. A delight for children, a concession for adults. Lock that memory in the vault, and I'll see you in the next case. What year did you first see this?